Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review for Heart and Hustle Houston, Season 1, Episode 8, The Secret's Out. Listen, this is the finale episode. When new shows come out, they normally give them 8 episodes. And we have come to the end of the road. So if you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share with a friend. Hit that notification bell so that you will be updated each and every time I upload a video. Now, y'all, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. When the episode first opens up, Josh is still kind of hemming and hawing. And then he finally tells us that it's not what we think. And I'm like, well, what the hell is it? Because I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is. And he's like, well, it's some things and it's some things. It's some damn investments. Basically, he moved the money from the checking to the savings, dipping up in their money, playing in her business funds, and lost everything. He lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, had her selling the house and everything. Now, when I initially heard it, I was like, Alaina, you could have just spit this out. Girl, this could have been episode 1. Hey, I'm Alaina of Color du Jour. Josh lost all of our money. You could have told, not saying that this is minuscule. I'm not minimizing what she's going through. Because if you steal, you kill. Okay? But my thing is, I thought that it was going to be this. And I guess that's me kind of projecting because we oftentimes think that the worst thing that a person can do to breach your trust is to cheat on you. But there are other things that people can do. And Alaina has an image to uphold. And that family of hers has made her think that everything should be just so. So this probably was a big slap in the face because we got to sell everything? Like, what do you mean I have to sell my home? Even production was like, well, why did it take you so long to say this? She said, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed about what other people would think. And I was embarrassed because I stayed knowing that this is too hurtful for me to stick around for. So basically, he was out here misappropriating funds. But what I was thinking is, okay, this is too hurtful for you to stick around for. But you stuck around for that cheating before y'all even got started? Child. And like I said, him and them big ass laces would be on the outside. So then he was like, I was just trying to change our lives. She said we were not even in dire straits. We were not hurting for money. She thought the reason why he did it is because she was the breadwinner. Well, he didn't like that. He didn't like the word breadwinner. He disagrees. He feels like during the panorama, he was doing everything for the makeup business. He wasn't really doing things for himself. And I just feel like Josh was insecure because he saw Alaina shining. And it's like, dang, I want to do my big one, because Color du Jour is what I'm attached to because I'm married to this woman. I'm doing this photography, but I haven't yet found my thing. So this is going to be my big thing. I'm going to show her, I'm going to get this money. But yeah, it didn't work out like that. Alaina said, that this basically started her villain arc. Like, this is when she became the person who's untrusting of others. Because the thing is, if you can't trust your own damn husband, then who the hell could you trust? Okay? If you can't go to Bella Noche's, where the hell could you go? Okay? Hazel, London. Like, where could you go? Where the hell could you go? So Josh is sitting there trying to, he said he felt insecure with his position in the house and all this. And the therapist really just let Alaina know he was insecure, not because of something that you did. He had his own expectations of himself, and he probably didn't feel like he was meeting them. But the unfortunate part is that it had an impact on you. And so Alaina said, that's the part. So if you see that, if you know that, and you've seen me work as hard as I did, like, why would you do the one thing that's going to hurt me? Now, I don't know if this is the one thing, because he could have done several things, which we were all speculating throughout the season. But I don't know, honey, you messed with our money. And some people, you can't play with their money. You can play with their heart. You can play cards. You can play checkers, but you better not play with their damn money. And Alaina is like, listen, dude, I can't even look at you as a husband and expect you to lead because now I can't trust to even give you my debit card. Like, you just can't be trusted. And that's what when she was explaining what the issue was, I was like, oh, okay, so that's the reason why she severed business ties and she's doing her own thing. Because I found it odd when he visited her own studio where she goes to do her clientele separately and privately. He's like, this you? As though he didn't know what was going on. And I'm like, oh, baby, she ain't telling him nothing no more. Do you hear me? Moving forward. She says she doesn't know if she has the capacity to let it go. And it feels like he let her down and himself down. So he's crying and Josh is like, I still want to work and, I still love her. I mean, you were sneaking around and spending money and lying about it. Y'all have 2 kids and a life. Certain things you just cannot do. Now, I'm not saying divorce your spouse over it. That's for you to decide. But if you're sneaking around and you're lying, maybe it's just best that the 2 of you part ways. In the next scene, it's time for the girls' trip, honey. Cheers to the girls' weekend, honey. It's time for the girls' trip. So all of the ladies are arriving. Labrina arrives first, then Chloe shows up. Muneera arrives next, then Latoya and Ro, and Alaina finally arrives. Now, have y'all ever seen the cartoon Charlie Brown? Okay. They're going to explain Alaina like a character from Charlie Brown a little bit later. And I'm going to give y'all my opinion, and it may be unpopular, but this is how I feel as a person. So I'm going to let y'all know a little bit later. All the girls are drinking, okay? And they're having a little champagne. Labrina is telling them about lunch being prepared for them and how they're going to do this, that, and this, and basically giving them the itinerary. So Alaina is like, I've never been on a girls' trip in the confessional because of, Josh's control. And I don't know what went on in that house, but she's whispering control. Alaina, you can say it out loud. Control. Hey, you could be Janet Jackson. You can say it out loud. And what he gonna do? He can't beat you up. Say it. He was controlling you. So you mean to tell me, because just let me get this straight. Not only is he cheating, he's taking money from the business and he's controlling and he wear big ass laces. Alaina, what about him says I should continue? Just what about him? Like, and them little crocodile tears, those were fake. Those would not have moved me. Josh knew who you were and he knows who you are. He wanted you in that house so he could do his dirt, both financially and fidelity wise. And he knows your capabilities. And sometimes certain men cannot handle when you are the star. They be low key jealous. And I don't even like to use that because a lot of people just say, oh, they're jealous, they're jealous, they're jealous. And they don't be. But I think this is a case of that. Moving forward. So after that, the ladies go for a little wine tasting and lunch. Muneera notices Alaina is a bit down. That energy is on 0. Okay, it's giving nothing. So they were asking about, stomping grapes because, of course, they're there to do wine tasting. And Latoya said, yeah, it's going to be a no for me, big dog. I dated a guy whose toes looked like sunflower seeds. And I thought this was the most disgusting conversation. Baby, please. And then she started talking about it being ranch flavored. And I was like, oh my God. Now, y'all know I don't like no damn feet. I do not like feet. And I would not tell anybody else that. I was so disgusted. Like, goodbye and good night. So anywho, they're all just trying to relax, have a good time. And Alaina is still kind of moping. Because, of course, this big thing has come out. And, her and Josh are still going through. And I'm like, ma'am, you should have just went on ahead and stayed at the house. Like, when I go somewhere, I want to have fun. Have a good time. And I feel like, Alaina, you need to just let your hair down. Have fun, girl. Don't worry about him. He was misappropriating funds before you took the show. Just have a good time. So they all sit down and started talking about Latoya's party. And so Labrina starts to tell them about how she did hair for 10 years. She jumped into the spa industry. She was in a little old rundown building, didn't have no money. And she started from the bottom. Now she here. So everything that they see, that's now. Okay. So don't tell me what has been. Tell me what's now. Because she struggled for a long time to get where she is today. Now, I don't know if it was editing or what, because the editing on here sometimes is crazy because it seems like they skipped right on past it. I said, baby, nothing acting like that on here, Labrina. And they skipped right on past it. Muneera started complimenting how pretty Ro looked in the color that she was wearing. And Ro is telling them, I'm in my soft girl era and whatnot. Because I be wearing my black. But I felt like now I need to come into a world of color. And I agree with that. You know, you put your black on because that's how you're feeling. But every now and again, it's good to have a little pop of color. And I have seen the evolution of Ro from episode 1 to episode 8. 2 months is a lot. So I have seen that she's made great strides. So then they wrap it up. So they're getting ready for dinner, right? Everybody's in there doing their hair, their makeup, this, that, and this and up. And they had it all set up really nicely. Now, Chef 7 is the one that's preparing the meal for them. Baby Chloe talking about, oh, he real cute. I said, is he? I don't know. I ain't see a child. I ain't noticed. I said, what is going on, honey? And what tripped me out is you're saying that Josh is not fine, but you think Chef 7 is? I don't know. I guess my definition of fine is different, but neither one gets nothing from me today. Anyway, Alaina said, girl, ain't you in a relationship with that young tender? What happened to Jordan? Chloe said, girl, I am single. Okay, I do what I want. He don't have no hold on me. She was like, well, I mean, if you've been spending all this time with him, why are y'all not exclusive? That's weird. It doesn't make sense. Ma'am, it's a lot of weird things going on up and through the group and up and through that marriage of yours. Ain't nobody talking about it. See, this is the thing that Alaina does. She can say something to you, but you better not say something to her. Now, if she would have come out of her face and said, you need to worry about your marriage or whatever, then it would have been a whole problem. So Alaina, just leave the lady alone. She says she's single. She's having fun. This is what you need to be doing. Okay, not up and through your marriage. I'm just saying once you're done. But stop worrying about other people. Okay, and that's just that on that. She's not tied down to Jordan. She's not. Moving forward. So Chloe basically let her know there's no ring on my finger. So I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. I never do that in a relationship. I'm not married to anybody. Alaina's like, does he know that? Ma'am, it doesn't matter what he knows. She says she's not putting all of her eggs in one basket. So then Muneera brings up Alaina and Josh going to therapy, and she wants to know how it went and if they were able to communicate. And so Alaina was just letting them know that the session was really heavy. It really wasn't what she thought it was going to be. He did take accountability for a couple of things, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to work. Okay. So Labrina wanted to know what he took accountability for. And she said, you know, just like some investments and things like that. So they're all just sitting here looking because she's saying something, but she's not really saying anything. So they know that maybe it has something to do with money, but of course they probably thought it was cheating. Alaina says he knows that she doesn't trust him. And Chloe was like, he put you in a bad spot. Like what, girl? Stocks, gambling, bonds? What did he do? Like, I want to know. Because everybody's like, how you gonna go from stocks to strippers? Because Chloe said, was he paying for strippers? Like, what was he doing? And in this moment, I really don't blame Chloe for asking follow-up questions because we're listening to you, but we also want to know, what exactly are you talking about? Because you're always saying just a little bit. I don't know. So then she says, do you feel like you can ever trust him again? And she says, I don't know. So then Ro wanted to know if she would get a divorce. She said, well, you know, if he stays in the space that he's in, I'm done. I'm not in love with him. Well, baby, what she say that for? Latoria was looking like, say, what now? You're not in love with him. What? Why? Alaina said, no, I'm not. Now, she did say it was really hard for her to admit that she's not in love with Josh any longer. Alaina, you have simply outgrown him. That's just the bottom line. Y'all met in high school. You were young. People change. You know, things change. Now, she did say she loves him, but she's not in love with him. And Labrina said, I'm not shocked. They don't even look like they're in love. They don't. And Muneera said, you know, if there's something left, then I say come together and make it work. Chloe was like, girl, what? You're not in love with him. Oh, girl, that's why you're not wearing that ring. It all makes sense. That's why y'all not having sex. You don't love him. You're sleeping in separate rooms. It may be time to let that thing go. So then Muneera pipes up. And she's like, well, you know, a lot of times you can kind of fall out of love with somebody and resentment is heavy. It's really like a dark cloud just hanging over you. And we all felt that. We felt your energy time and time again. And it got to a point where it's like, we want to be there for you, but sometimes it can be difficult because it's like we're starting to consume the dark energy. Okay, now this is where the unpopular opinions come in. I wouldn't appreciate personally my friend at a table with a group of other people stating that they don't want to take in my dark energy because it's like a dark cloud. Now, granted, all of them were co-signing and just waiting for somebody to say something because Ro pipes up. And baby, the way Labrina was taking that damn water to the head, I said, Labrina, don't drown. Baby, she didn't want to say nothing. Please don't drown. So Ro is like, I have had times where it was hard for me to even want to say something because I didn't know if I was going to say the right thing. And I don't know. I just didn't appreciate how they were coming. That's not friendship to me because yes, sometimes you don't have the emotional bandwidth to take in what your friend is going through, but you let them know, you let them know that, but you don't let them know in a way where you're depicting them as a dark cloud. I'm sorry. I'm with Alaina on being offended. Muneera, you brought her into your home and you asked about her marriage and you allowed her to vent only to turn around and say she's like a dark cloud. Like, are you serious? Y'all are her friends. Who is she supposed to talk to? Who can I run to? Who can she run to if she can't run to y'all as her friends? I don't know. I just didn't like it. I wouldn't refer to my friend as a dark cloud, especially when I know the space that they're in. I'm not going to just like kick you even more when you're down. And other people may feel differently, and we can talk about it respectfully in the comments, because a lot of people felt like, Alaina is a dark cloud. She always has something, talking about the marriage and this and that, but that's what this show is for. But when she went over to Muneera's house, she allowed Muneera to, vent and talk as well. And I remember in the confessional, Muneera was like, I never really get to be vulnerable and just talk. And so it felt good for me to just talk to someone. Now you get here at the table after the lady done told you that a lot is going on. And you're like, yeah, there's a dark cloud hanging over you. And that's the character from Charlie Brown. I'm like, baby, not carrying the cloud. So Alaina asked them if she comes across that way all the time. And Rose said, yes, you definitely do. And sometimes I can't say nothing to you. Moving forward. In the next scene, it's the next day. They're all in the kitchen. They're having some laughs. And so Muneera, that sounded like Eve from Barbershop, talking about who drank my apple juice. So, they're having a good little laugh about that. And I was like, girl, gone. Alaina then says, next day, and things are feeling lighter. And Alaina wants to know about their trip. And as she's talking about how people feel about their trip and them being together, Muneera and Alaina start to go back and forth and back. And so Muneera was saying that she does feel like it, she's a dark cloud. Alaina said, I don't speak like that about my friends. I don't like the fact that you spoke like that about me. Muneera said, I feel like I can never say anything. I'm going through stuff as well. You want people to call you all the time. And Alaina was like, you don't have to call me all the time. And she's like, well, I just feel like you always want us to call you and be around you. And I'm like, I don't know. I just didn't get that. I mean, maybe somebody else got it, but I didn't get that. Then she continued to tell Alaina that she's hanging on the word dark cloud. She's hanging on those words, but she's not actually listening to what Muneera is saying. So they're going back and forth and back about who's been there for whom, and the dark cloud versus Muneera not having, the space to be there. And then Muneera says, well, you know my heart. And Alaina says, actually, I don't. Now, they both have their points, because if you're going to check on me, don't be calling me no damn dark cloud. And Muneera, it is okay for her to feel her feelings after hearing an entire group of women feel like she's bringing the group down when y'all should have been said something. So I get what you're saying, and I also get what she's saying. So then Labrina stepped in and said the issue is you're saying Muneera wasn't there for you. And so then Muneera was like, I was there for her. And it just got to a point where Muneera and Alaina were just exchanging words and going back and forth and back. Muneera gets upset and she says, you know what? Since you're saying you don't know my heart, she was highly offended by that. She got up and walked off. And Alaina said, as my friend, I would never use those words for you. And I agree with that. I would not call my friend a dark cloud. I just wouldn't do that. So it's kind of awkward. Everybody's kind of standing around because things are happening. And the thing that came out is that Alaina and Muneera are the closest out of the two, which I didn't know because you couldn't tell. I don't know if it's because Muneera wasn't seen much, but yeah, you really couldn't tell that the two of them were the closest. Anywho, Alaina went out to talk to Muneera. And Alaina tells her, before we start, I just want to say I love you like a sister. Muneera said, girl, no. You said something totally different earlier. in there, okay, you said that you didn't know my heart. So it's strange to hear you say that now you love me like a sister. Like, what do you have going on? And in that moment, it made me realize that Alaina likes to push things under the rug. She puts a Band-Aid on things. And I'm sure she was doing that exact same thing in her marriage. Because why are you standing here saying I love you like a sister, but, y'all just got through fighting to the death up in that kitchen? Yeah, it's a no. So in the confessional, Muneera says Alaina says mean things when she's upset because basically she can, but it's probably how she really feels. So telling me you love me like a sister, nah, I ain't buying it. Okay. I don't know how it went from what's the most impactful part of this girls trip to y'all fussing and fighting. I really don't get it. I really don't. So they're standing there, they're having this conversation, honey. Even the cows were over the BS. Okay. They started mooing and pushing them over to the left and to the right. I'm like, oh, child, this is enough. I feel like Alaina is going through a lot and struggling with her perception. Okay. And her personal image. I think she's struggling with that. And I'm sure she associated dark cloud with something that would taint her image. And then I think it was just hurtful. And then the way Muneera was all like, you're on defense mode. I can see it all in your face. And Alaina's like, I'm not on defense mode. Okay, listen, go ahead. It's cool. Muneera, I find it mighty funny. Okay. And maybe this is just me. I think you're being a hypocrite. I think it's very hypocritical because you got all up in arms about the word cute or cutesy, adorable. You made Latoria feel like crap when she was not trying to be rude to you at all. But you cannot fathom why Alaina doesn't like the word dark cloud. I don't understand. If someone that I feel like I'm close to feels like they don't even want to talk to me at times, tell me. Okay? Don't get in front of a group of people and say, when your dad passed, I reached out to you and we got to a point where we knew personal things about you and you knew personal things about me and I couldn't come to you and talk to you. And you could have said that a long time ago. I don't know. I feel, a lot of people feel like Alaina got a mean streak to her. I feel like Muneera got a mean streak to her. Truth be told, they're one and the same. They get sensitive about things that are said, but they say insensitive things to others. Let's just keep it all the way real. Okay. And that's just that on that. Moving forward. So they have their talk and then they decide to go on inside because they're going to let bygones be bygones and wigs be wigs. And they're going to just make up. They're going to go ahead and make up. They came inside and Labrina gives a word to each one. Okay. Because she feels like, okay, you heifers finally got yourselves together. Cool. Okay. Let's get this show on the road. So she pulls out these bouquet of flowers. And she gives one to each. And Muneera's is about peace because of, where she's fighting to get and how she's been fighting for her peace, especially with her mom and Norm. And then she gives Chloe a bouquet of colorful flowers. She gives Latoria some orange flowers for confidence. Chloe got yellow flowers for forgiveness. And she said Chloe should forgive herself for everything that she's gone through with her son and trying to raise her daughters alone. Ro got red flowers or red roses for love because she feels like Ro has now walked into a new place and she's embracing love and loving herself. And I thought that was beautiful. Ro says, she struggles with self-love. So that means a lot to her. And it's a new day, honey. I'm loving on me. It's all about me, 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 me. Honey, I know that's right. Shout out to Maya. And then in the end, every woman had a bouquet, right? So they're all sitting there and there's no bouquet for Labrina because she's the gifter. So in the end, every woman took a flower from their bouquet and paired it together and poured back into Labrina. And I thought that was really special. It was really thoughtful of Latoria to want to give back to Labrina because it's easy to give and not expect to be poured back into. And I also think that it was a really sweet gesture for Labrina to celebrate them. She put together the trip. She wanted the trip to go well. And then at the end, she made sure to say something sweet about each and every woman. And they did the same for her because she has been the person that they've gone to all season. So it's really awesome for them to come together and make sure that they acknowledge and give Labrina her flowers, honey, her things. So since the season has come to a wrap, the end cards read, Labrina is expanding Escape Spa and launching a new Pilates studio. Okay, I didn't know she was into Pilates. Pop moved back in full time. They sold their 5-acre ranch and upgraded to a 50-acre ranch. Now, I don't keep up with the Joneses. I am the Joneses. Now, check that. For Latoya, it says she decided to step away from Reign HTX, fulfilling her desire to be a mother. She's exploring the adoption process, and she's still searching for Mr. Right with nice toes. Honey, as long as it ain't Banks, we in that thing. Muneera's reads, she continues to be a successful influencer. She wants to go to therapy to work on her vulnerability. And despite working it out with Alaina, things are still a bit rocky. Now, I was not surprised by that. Muneera seems like she likes to hold a grudge and she likes to hold on to things. Even when they hugged at the end, she's like, yeah, I love you too, even though you're crazy as hell. Child, she's still mad. Moving on to Chloe. Chloe and Nico continue to work on their relationship. Her and Jordan are still together with talks of wedding bells in the future. Nico and Jordan still haven't met. Ma'am, please leave Jordan where he at. Okay, please. So then Rose reads, ended her relationship with her on-again, off-again basketball player. She's still consulting for high-end restaurants and embracing her soft girl era. And then it says Alaina of Color du Jour. Okay, Color du Jour Makeup Lounge has been a huge success. Although her business is thriving, her marriage is not. Josh has moved out. That doesn't surprise me because things were just a little bit too rocky. Things were happening that Alaina really couldn't get past. And so I wish them all the best. And that was the end of the season. Listen, the season was really good. I hope to see some lighter moments though next season, more hustle mixed with the heart. Like, I really want to see what these women do on the daily, even if you have to take us to some places at night, you know, because some of them work in the nightlife. Like Ro does her thing sometimes at night. Take us there. We really need to get into it because I want to see more of the hustle and a little bit more of the heart, but in a way where they seem happy. Okay, so child, I can't wait to get into season 2. Hopefully they get a season 2. They said season 1 finale. So if Bell Collective, who had the most horrible first season, and shout out to my Bells, okay, but that first season wasn't first seasoning. If they can get a second season, I know Heart and Hustle Houston can get and does deserve a second season. Congratulations to the ladies. Every last one of you made this show special. I'm especially proud because it's a product of Houston. They were able to see the city and see what some of us have to offer. And that's just that on that. Y'all comment down below. Tell me exactly what you thought about the season finale of Heart and Hustle Houston. Do you agree that with Muneera that Alaina is a dark cloud? Do you agree with Alaina that why would you call me a dark cloud? Girl, you could have just told me you didn't want to talk to me. Okay? You know I'm going through something. Why would you sit up and call me a dark cloud? That's insensitive. Listen, y'all can call me sensitive all you want to, but if you're my friend, don't ever think you're going to come in my face and call me a dark cloud and think we're going to still be open for discussion after that. Because I'm just going to take my cloud and roll. Okay? I wouldn't want to cause you any thunderstorms. All right, y'all comment down below and I'm going to comment back. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.